good evening. Good evening. God bless you. Welcome, all of you that are come on in, that's watching us live, and those that will catch it in the replay. I am your host, Apostle Gretchel Dixon. We are here for Gretchel Dixon Let's Chat, and I have a very special guest tonight. Her name is Lisa Stillwell. Welcome to the show, Miss Lisa. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, Miss Stillwell comes all the way by, they say, H-Town. She's in Houston, y'all. And I wanted to bring her on so she could talk about some amazing things that's happening in Houston and what she does. So, Miss Lisa, so tell us who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Hello, I'm just so happy to be here today to share with everyone. And thanks again for inviting me. I am Lisa Stillwell, and I am originally from Grambling, Louisiana. I'm a graduate of Grambling State University, and I received my master's degree from the University of Washington. I am currently the founder and executive director of Celebrating You Incorporated, which is a youth nonprofit organization that's dedicated to equipping and preparing students for life after high school.
Wow, celebrating you. I'm writing that down. So, how did this all start? You know, everything starts with an idea, a thought, a burden, a passion, all the above. So, how did you come up with celebrating you? How was this birth?
Well, first, I'd have to say that my background is in education and secondary education. And in the classroom, I noticed that there were a lot of students. I taught mostly 9th through 12th grade. So I would have mostly 11th graders, 12th graders in my classroom. And when we would have different discussions, I would ask them about what their plans were when they graduated from high school. And to my surprise, quite a few of them had no idea. They did not have plans, and that really disturbed me. I come from a family of educators, and so when you grow up in a household where your father, his background and experiences in education, and your mother's background and experiences in education, you are responsible for, I guess, quite a few things that probably some other people just don't think about. Because when we were younger, we would have to lay out our report cards on the table every 6 weeks. And my dad would go through each class and look at the grades and say, is this your best? Oh, you got a B in this, you got an A in this, and so forth and so on. And so as I was, growing up, and as I, got into this career, I noticed that everybody's parents were not like that. And that I worked with a lot of students where their parents were not very involved in their education. And so as a result, I guess part of the reason that they had no plans is because they they didn't have anyone really to be accountable to, I guess. And so the organization came about because first of all, I have a passion for young people, for helping them to become all that God has called them to be. Mm-hmm. And for me, seeing that, it just really disturbed me. And so, not saying that I was looking for something else to do, because if you are a teacher, you're an educator, or anywhere in the school district, you know that your plate is full. And so my plate was full and some. And so when this idea popped in my head about doing something at the school, and by the way, it started at the school. I started doing really what it is now. I was doing that in the school system, at my former school. And so we would do these. I would get speakers, have these people come over, and I would give them topics. You're going to talk about this. You're going to talk about this. I need you to speak to the young man about this, about dress, about finances, about etiquette, about this and that. Anyway, some things that they were not already exposed to. So as a result of that, one of the men that was a part of the event, he worked at the Reliant Arena, and he was associated with one of the basketball teams. So he said, "Would you like to do uh, one of these events at the Reliant Arena?" I was like, "At the Reliant Arena?" And so I didn't have anything put together. All I had done was what I just mentioned. We had different programs and workshops in the school, and we would invite other classes to participate. And so we ended up doing this huge event at the Reliant Arena in Houston.
Wow.
The students were able to go to the basketball game for free, but they had to come to the Celebrating You event first. And so that's really how it started. I had no plan. There was no like plan or anything written down. All of it was just right here and right here, of course. And so that's how it really started, because I just felt that all students ought to have some type of plan before they graduate high school.
Wow. So, since you worked in the school district, were you a counselor? What role did you play in the school system?
Well, I started as a career. I was in the career and technical education department. So I started really as a instructor in the classroom, and I taught business and marketing classes.
Oh,
And I was a co-op teacher. So for those who are not familiar with co-op, you may know about it when I tell you about it, but it was the students that would come to school, and they would be at school for half a day, and then they would go to a job.
oh,
So
okay.
my position that I had at that time was to help the students to find employment. And then I had to monitor them, had to visit their workstation like once every 6 weeks. And just to make sure that they were okay. And if the employers had any issues or concerns, or just to, make sure that they were okay. So that was one of the positions. That was one of the positions that I had there, one of the first positions that I had. Then I was a magnet coordinator. The school I worked at was a magnet school. So I was in charge of the magnet program there. And so after that, I was a grant administrator. We had this $8 million grant, and I was responsible for making sure that the funds were spent the way that they were supposed to be spent, because our school had some academic issues and we received the money so that we could improve. So my job also was to come up with some, activities and programs and things to bring the community and the parents to be involved in more in the school. And my last position was a college and career advisor. With this position, I was able to talk mostly to seniors and to make sure that they had a plan after high school. The position that I was most instrumental in was the career part. I had some other coworkers. They did mostly the college admission, help them with the scholarships and things like that. If a student was not exactly sure what they wanted to go into or to major in, they would talk to me. And, we would like deep dive, into what their interests were, their skills and things like that. So in a nutshell, those are all the positions that I had there. And so I was in education for over 20 years.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's interesting when you said you were a co-op teacher. I remember when both of my sons were seniors in high school, that they, like you said, they went to school half a day and they worked the other half. And I
Yes.
had no idea until you just mentioned it that the teachers actually check up on them to see what
Yes.
they were doing. I just knew one worked at our oldest son worked at TJ Maxx in high
Okay.
school. Yeah, and then our youngest son worked at Kroger's. Kroger's was a hard job because I'm originally from Arkansas, and so I remember in the summertime he would have to go in one of those. You have to start out maybe bringing the baskets, gathering the shopping carts,
Yes.
and bringing them into the store. So So
Okay.
wow, that's amazing. And you started this in when you were still employed in the school district,
Yes, I did.
working with the students. Did you have to go and get permission from the principal, or how did they allow you to do this? Because I was wondering, the reason I was asking you what you did, because I remember doing a when I worked for a bank, we would go into the schools and do teach financial literacy, and in
Okay.
order to get in through the school, we had to go through the counselor. So
Okay.
we went and go to the counselor, and I guess she presented it to the principal or whomever, and then that's how we were allowed into the school, was by way of the school counselor. So, what steps did you have to take for them to allow you to do in the school district, since you were doing all these other things, but that really wasn't what you were, hired to do per se at the time?
Well, at the time, it was just part of what I did in the classroom. So it wasn't a formalized celebrating you event. It was part of my lesson, right? And so I didn't really have to, when I did something with the other classes, the other career and technical education classes, I just invited the other students to participate, and I had it in my lesson plans. And as a result of, a lot of the things, because I've always been a person that would go over and above,
Mhm.
would go the extra mile for students and things like that. And so as a result of them seeing all of that I was doing, I was even asked to do a girls' day and a boys' day at the school. And so we had over 1,500 students at our school, right?
Wow.
So one day was girls' day. I got ladies to come and talk with the young ladies, and that whole day or half a day was dedicated, to them. And then the
Mhm.
other day was for young men. And so, of course, I didn't try to do all of that myself because that was a huge task. So the department helped. Uh, but basically, I kind of did what I wanted to do, so to speak, and they trusted me and knew that whatever I was doing, it was going to be a huge impact on the students. So I
Wow.
didn't have to go through a counselor. I didn't really have to go through anybody like that. I would just let the front office know, we're having visitors today, such and such is coming, just be aware of what's going on. So that was pretty much it.
That's good. How did it turn out with the Reliant Arena? It's like you said, that's huge. So tell me about that. How did you partner with some individuals or other schools? And how many students did you actually have to come? Because that's a huge place.
Oh my gosh. A lot of the students from the school attended, by the way. We, as a matter of fact, like I said earlier, didn't have anything uh, per se established.
Mm-hmm.
People just started giving money, and I want to donate toward this. I want to purchase a ticket for a student. I want to do this. And so when people gave, it went toward the tickets for the students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just overwhelmed by the response. We had over 500 plus students at that event, and it was absolutely amazing. We had some students to be speakers. We had some others to come in, and the gentleman that worked with the basketball team,
Mm-hmm.
the promotions, he was one of the speakers as well. So it was a really, really awesome event. And as I even think about it, it's like, wow, I can't believe that we did something of that magnitude. And I had just gotten, started getting things together. I didn't. It was moving so fast. It was moving so fast.
Yeah, it was just an idea that exploded. So that's a great testimony. And then you said it's called Celebrating You. So how did you come up with the name? So what does that represent for you?
Well, let me tell you something about, if any of you have seen the logo, it has two crowns on it. When I asked the person to design the logo, I told them what I had in mind. And so what I thought about was we had a program entitled at the beginning, one called Celebrating the Queen in You,
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating the King in You. And so the crowns on the logo signify the male and the female.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so one of my, I'm not going to say pet peeve, but another word I can't think of right now, there are a lot of young people in the Houston area and around the world that are doing some amazing things. And I just felt like they needed to be celebrated.
Oh, wow.
We have successful youth that have their own business. Some of them are going off to college. Their college is fully paid, and different things like that. But when we look at the news, a lot of times we'll see young people, either they're being handcuffed,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they've shot somebody, or gotten into some type of criminal activity. And that is really not what our young people represent.
Right.
And so even if you look on my Facebook page and social media, you'll see at sometimes, that I'll be celebrating the
Mm-hmm.
youth. They received a scholarship. If I know about it, I'm putting it on my page because everybody needs to see something very positive
Mm-hmm.
about our young people. And if you see something about, someone got a position at their college, that's been a part of our event, yes, I want to talk about that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, and I just think they ought to be celebrated and they need to know that they are celebrated. So when we have our events, we always talk about how important they are, that they have a purpose for being on this earth, and who they are matters, and things like that. So that is part of celebrating. And then on the inside of me, I'm a celebrating type person anyway.
Uh-huh.
I'm a giver. I love celebrating people and things like that. And I just think that everyone ought to be celebrated.
Wow, that is so good. Like you said, because everyone is important. We all need each other, and everyone's valuable. And that's one of the things that's not expressed enough, as you say, in today's society, and especially the younger people, the
Mhm.
youth, because they are our future. They are
Yes.
our future, and so we want to encourage them. Years ago, you would hear them say it takes a village,
Yeah.
or are we supposed to train? The Bible talks about training the younger. It makes reference to the younger women, but just younger. For me, it's just the younger people in general. So
Yes.
so that's great.
And a
So,
lot of times, you know what? They don't get the affirmation that they need from the home. And when they are able to be a part of something that we're doing with our organization, we always have things that's going to make them feel like that they're important, they are being lifted up, that they are special, and things like that. Because, we can't all take for granted, just because, maybe you grew up a certain way or I grew up a certain way. Everybody didn't grow up well, some of the students grew up with one parent in the household,
mhm,
or no parent in the household, they're with their grandmother, or whatever.
mhm,
And it's amazing, what you can do when you lift up someone else with some positive words, or just to tell them, who they are, what they
yeah.
are, how important they are. I mean, it will just change the demeanor of a young person. And so I've been working with them a long time, and I, have an idea what really makes them feel really good.
Oh, that's good. So, what do you have coming up? What are you guys working on now? Celebrate.
Okay.
What's coming up?
Well, we have a virtual event that's called Get College Ready on February 22nd. And we're going to be discussing college admissions. We're going to be discussing college funding, the things that you need to be doing in the ninth grade, the 10th grade, 11th grade, and even if you are a senior, some things that you need to be preparing for. Because we always let the students know that high school is nothing compared to college, if that's where you're going. And so our event that's coming up in a couple of weeks will be focusing on getting college ready at any grade. We'll also be sharing some scholarships with the students who are a part of this event. So that's one event coming up. And then on April 19th, our partner, who is Raising Cane's, the restaurant, I'm sure a lot of young people especially know about that restaurant.
Yes, I
They're,
know.
they're one of our official partners. And so this is our third year celebrating, there's that word again, celebrating our seniors. So we have some seniors that we'll be celebrating who have been a part of our organization, and we will be providing for them some essentials that they need when they go off to college. So anyway, I'm really, really excited about both of those events. And I just want to encourage those who are listening today to make sure that you sign up and be a part of the upcoming event, especially February 22nd. So I don't want them to think that it's just for seniors because we're talking about college. There are scholarships that are available at every grade level in high school. So
Wow, that's
that's
good.
what's coming up.
So the event that you have coming up on the 22nd, because I have friends and people that follow what I do that's all
Mhm.
over the United States. So for those that are watching that are the East Coast or North or South, they're basically just not in Texas. So is this something for caregivers and others outside of Texas that they would benefit from attending
Yes,
that?
yes. Yes, and that's why I'm excited that it is virtual, so
Mhm.
that we can reach more students, high school students. It's also for the parents and caregivers because the parents need to know what the process is. Because a lot of times, I have a son myself, and I know a lot of the people that are watching, they have children, and you know how you have to stay on them about completing something.
Yes.
Some of them have this idea that yes, I'm going to college, but they don't think about how much it costs.
Right.
Okay. You need to know how much it costs. You need to know where the money is coming from, and you need to make sure that you know you have the money to get into college
Yes.
because your looks will not get you there.
And
They want to know, how are you going to pay when you get in that line?
yes, yes, indeed. So, what other things? I know you have this amazing virtual event that's coming up on the 22nd, but outside of that, what other things do you do? What do they do when they're not doing, a conference or something? So, outside of that, what do they do?
Okay, so in November and December, I'm just going to talk about two events that we had. Um, and they were opportunities for middle school and high school students to obtain community service hours. And so the first event that we did was a toy drive in conjunction with the Houston Fire Department. So that is our second year participating with the Houston Fire Department. And so we collected toys to give to children that needed toys for Christmas. So that went on for several weeks. Um, our official location was at Sienna Wings, of which one of the owner or the founder, she's been one of our celebrating youth speakers, and she has two businesses, Sienna Sauce and Sienna Wings. So they were our official drop-off location. We had about 5 locations throughout the city of Houston and surrounding areas where people could go and drop those off. Then we had a lunch party for the event as well. So the students, they were in full force. They greeted the guests. They helped us with anything that we needed during the event, and they obtained community service hours and a certificate. The next event we had was held at one of the local libraries. And this is our second time participating in decorating lunch bags for an organization called Kids Meals Inc. They provide thousands of meals a day to children under the age of five, ages 5 and under, who need food. And so we had people from ages 5 up to 65 and older that participated in this event. All we did was put stickers, people drew on the bags, put positive quotes and things like that to let the children know when they see the bag that they were loved and, appreciated and things like that. And so we did over 1,800 bags for that event. We also had people to participate that were not in the Houston area, and they mailed the bags in. So we had people from different parts of Texas that participated, that mailed, they did it as a school project and as an organization, and they mailed the bags to us, and we added it to the ones that we had. So we're always like really, really excited to give back to others. We're not just an organization that does things, for people that participate with us, but we like to also collaborate with other organizations and do things to help others as well, because it's a big thing to teach children that, because a lot of times they always have their hands out.
Yes.
What do you have for me? I remember when I was teaching, it would be their birthday and they would, well, Miss Stillwell, where's my gift for my birthday? Today is my birthday. In my mind, I'm going like, I got about 80, 100 some students, right? I can't give everybody a gift every time it's their birthday anyway. And so they always would think about, well, what do you have for me? For me, me, me. So it's a good, a teachable moment. Let me call it that. A teachable moment when you can share with a student how important it is to give back to others and to give to the community. Because one of the reasons is, well, first of all, it makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, if you're a high school student, when you get ready to apply for these scholarships and other things, they want to know, are you a well-rounded student? They don't just want to know that you're on a roll and all of this. They want to know if you're well-rounded. And so a lot of times they will ask on the application for the scholarship about your community service.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want it documented. I had to sign some papers that day when they came to volunteer at our events, and it was from their school. And so certain schools have they have a requirement for their seniors that they have to have so many hours, as a senior in order to graduate, I guess. So that's about it. So, and when there are like, if someone may say something about, we need to hire some students, Ms. Stillwell, do you have any students in, the organization that, that participate with you? We're looking for some people to fill these jobs or whatever. Then that's an opportunity, for me to recommend certain students. We had one time a business owner coordinated an event. And so she came to me and asked me, do you have any youth entrepreneurs? And I did. So what happened was I told the young lady about it, asked her would she like to participate. And so the lady offered her a free vendor space at her event. So that was an opportunity for others to, support her business and for her to network with others. And so now she is at Clark Atlanta University.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So the question I had, and this is the last one, you were in the high school, and so you got the students. So now where do you find them? And is there a certain date or time that you meet? How do you continue? I understand you have the fundraisers and bringing awareness like the Zoom, the virtual events that you're doing. but during the year to work with the youth, where do you find them? Or do you have a building or just how do you find them? How do y'all meet?
Okay, so we are currently working on getting into some local high schools so that we can do some of our workshops and activities on a more continuous basis.
Hmm.
So we're in the process of that right now. In the past, we have advertised on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the students have just come.
Oh,
Others have told others about it. I mean, there is one school where there are so many young people that have talked about it. And then when they graduate or whatever, they'll say, well, Miss Stillwell, here are some students that would be good to participate in celebrating you, which I like that they give recommendations
uh-huh.
for students. And so a lot of the students, I want to say this, a lot of the students, they already have goals.
Oh,
It's
that's
not picking and choosing. It's not, you got to have, a 3.0 grade point average to participate with us or whatever. It is open to all students who are interested. And we focus on really, we had to put it down to age 12 because we had younger students that wanted to hear about stocks, hear about budgeting, hear about whatever, but I had to tell the parents, this is what we're going to be talking about. So if your child is interested, then that's fine. Because at first it was just for high school, but now it's been, I don't know, it's a lot of young people. Some of them already had stocks.
oh wow.
Okay. And we were doing a workshop, stocks 101, type thing. So, and then a lot of them already had their own business
That's
and they just gravitated toward the organization. So it's not like we're picking and choosing and saying you can't participate or you can't. No, it's not that. It's open to all students, ages 12 to 19.
Oh wow, this has been so good. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and to come on because I too work with youth and I'm going to pick your brain about how to do some things since you're already doing some of the things that I have on my, as they say, my vision board and my to-do list. So if someone that's watching, they want to hear more about your organization or
Mhm.
to connect with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Our website is celebrating you, that's YOU.org, or you can email us at info@celebratingyou.org. And we have a presence on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn.
Wow, that has been so, so good. So now what's the date again and how do they sign up for your virtual event on the 22nd?
Okay. So February 22nd, the time is 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And the workshop, the link is getcollegeready.eventbrite.com. That's getcollegeready.eventbrite.com.
That's good. Now, is there a fee for them to attend?
There is a nominal fee of $10. You're going to get a whole lot more than $10 worth of information. Trust me. The
Yeah.
person that is conducting the workshop is a counselor, and she has her own business where she helps students to get ready for college. So she is very knowledgeable, and she has done a workshop for us on this topic. This will be probably, I think, her third time.
Wow, this is good. This is so good. I just want to thank you again for taking the time out to just tell us all about what's going on. So those of you that are watching live and catch the replay, you've been watching Lisa Stillwell, who is the founder of Celebrating You from Houston, an organization for our youth. And we definitely need to encourage our youth and help push them to the next level because they are the next generation. And
Yes.
if you guys scrolling across the bottom, if this has been a blessing to you and you feel like sewing into what I'm doing, the information is scrolling across the bottom. But make sure, like you said, you like and share and reach out to Miss Stillwell, because even though she's in Texas, this is something that can go anywhere. And of course, the virtual, that means it can go anywhere worldwide.
Yes.
So that's a great thing about that. So I want to thank you again and thank all of you for watching, and tune in again next week for Gretchel Dixon Let's Chat. Have a good evening.